I woke up screaming that morning, my voice cracking like dry ice in my throat. But it wasn't my throat anymore. It was hers, Victoria's, wrinkled and laced with the faint rasp of too many Marlboros and martinis, the kind that whispered old money and older grudges. My hands, gnarled and veined like twisted roots, flew to my face, clawing at skin that sagged where mine had once been taut, and, in the mirror, her eyes cold, appraising. The eyes of the woman who'd called me a boring little housewife at every family dinner stared back, mocking me from inside my own stolen reflection. The swap had happened 3 months ago, on a rainy night in our McMansion in Palo Alto. During one of those harmless seances Victoria insisted on hosting to connect with the ancestors. She was the matriarch, the tech widow who'd cashed in on her late husband's Silicon Valley startup, wielding her fortune like a scalpel. My husband, Ethan, her golden boy, had laughed it off as her eccentric phase. But I'd felt the chill in the air. The way the Ouija board spelled out my name before the lights flickered and the world tilted. When I came to, I was trapped in her body, 80 pounds heavier and 30 years older, while she pranced around in mine, 28 and fertile, the body I'd earned through yoga classes and midnight feedings for our daughter, Lily. That first week, I tried to tell them. I burst into the breakfast nook, Victoria's silk robe flapping like a funeral shroud, and screamed, "It's me, Gabriella, Ethan. For God's sake, look at me." But Ethan just sipped his black coffee, eyes flicking to his phone. And Victoria, God. The sight of her in my skin. My freckles stretched over that smug smile, tilted her head and cooed, "Oh, Mother, you're having one of your episodes again. Maybe it's time for that memory care facility in Marin." The in-laws chuckled, Aunt Mildred piping up with, "Poor Vic, losing her marbles. And poor Gabby, wherever she is, such a dull girl. Always fussing over that baby, like it's her whole world." They thought I'd vanished. A nervous breakdown story they could spin for the neighbors. Victoria had covered it all. My sudden trip to visit family back east. My phone silenced. My credit cards cut off. She was in my body, my life, my bed with my husband, and I was the ghost haunting her empty estate. The betrayal cut deeper than the physical wrongness of my borrowed bones. I'd known Victoria hated me from the wedding day, when she'd whispered to her country club friends that I was a phase. Darling, too pedestrian for our Ethan. But this was sorcery born of spite. A secret ritual she'd learned from some shady Silicon Valley mystic peddling consciousness uploads to the elite. She'd confessed it once, slurring over wine. "Bodies are just vessels. Gabriella. Why cling to youth when you can trade up?" I'd laughed it off then. But now I knew she'd done it to escape her failing health. Her arthritis gnawing at her joints. Her reflection a daily reminder of time's theft. And me, I was the perfect mark. Young, unassuming, the boring mom who'd take the fall without a fight. Or so she thought. But I'd borne her sins before. 5 years ago, during a 4th of July barbecue at the estate, Victoria had gotten blackout drunk and plowed her Mercedes into the neighbor's prized rose garden, sideswiping their teenage son on his bike. He ended up in the ER with a shattered femur. But she panicked. DUI on top of her prescription pill habit would have tanked her social standing, maybe even her board seats at those charity galas. Ethan begged me to cover for her. "Just say you were driving, Gabby. Mom's fragile. It'll be our secret." I did it. Because I loved him. Because Lily was on the way and I wanted family peace. The cops bought my story, the harried young wife. No priors, and I got 6 months probation. Community service scrubbing graffiti in East Palo Alto. Victoria never thanked me. She just sneered. See? Even you know your place. That lie had branded me the reckless one. The in-laws' punchline. Gabby's little oopsie. Good thing Ethan's the responsible one.
Now.
In her body. I was invisible. A doddering relic they shipped off to the guest wing with a nurse who smelled like Benghazi and boredom. Lily, my Lily. 2 years old and all chubby cheeks and sticky hugs, didn't recognize me. Victoria paraded her around in my body, cooing nonsense in that fake baby voice I'd perfected, while I watched from the shadows, heart splintering. The in-laws' barbs flew like darts at Thanksgiving prep. Vic, you're looking radiant in that body. You always do. And Gabby? Probably off chasing some yoga retreat dream. The flake. Ethan nodded along, his arm around me, and I bit my tongue until it bled, plodding in the silence of Victoria's cavernous library, surrounded by first editions she'd never read. Revenge started small, a whisper in the dark. I hacked her emails using passwords I'd overheard over years of polite endurance. Ethan's birthday. Her late husband's initials. Boring Gabby one. Jackpot. Correspondence with that mystic.
Dr.
Elias Crow. A charlatan with a PhD from some online mill. Promising eternal swaps for the right price. Victoria had paid a fortune. But the ritual was reversible with the right incantation. Under a blood moon. Using a lock of hair from both vessels. Blood moon in 2 weeks. I needed access to Lily's curls. Innocent and untainted. And Crow's grimoire. Hidden in Victoria's safe. But first, I had to play the part. The senile mother-in-law. Muttering to myself. Luring them into complacency. The nurse, Carla, was my unwitting ally. She smuggled in burner phones and takeout from In-N-Out, real food, not Victoria's kale smoothies, and listened to my ravings without judgment. You ain't crazy, Mrs. Hargrove, she'd say, her Jersey accent thick. I seen weirder in this line of work. I told her fragments. The swap. The theft. The rage. She believed enough to help, slipping me sedatives for the household staff. One night, as the family gathered for movie night, some bland Pixar flick Lily loved, I dosed the popcorn. They dozed off in the den. Ethan snoring on the couch. Victoria in my body curled against him like she owned him. That's when I struck. Creeping into the nursery, I snipped a lock from Lily's sleeping head, the scissors cold in my arthritic grip. Her tiny chest rose and fell, peaceful, and for a moment, guilt clawed at me. This was motherhood twisted into monstrosity. But then I thought of Victoria's taunts, the way she'd accidentally spilled wine on my wedding dress rehearsal gown, or mocked my postpartum body as letting itself go.
No.
This was justice. American style. Bootstraps laced with arsenic. With the hair tucked in my pocket, I shuffled to Victoria's study, cracking the safe with a stethoscope Carla borrowed from her med kit. The grimoire was there, leather-bound and reeking of patchouli, pages yellowed with incantations in full Latin. Crow's notes detailed the reversal, a circle of salt, candles from virgin beeswax, and a chant invoking the equinox of souls. But the twist, the part that made my stomach lurch, was the cost, one life for another. The swap would right itself, but the weaker vessel would shatter, body and soul. Who was weaker?
Me?
In this decaying shell? Or her? Unaccustomed to the vigor of youth she'd stolen? I didn't care. Dawn was breaking, the Silicon Valley fog rolling in like a shroud, and I had 12 days to prepare. But Victoria was no fool. She sensed the shift. That morning, as the sedatives wore off, she cornered me in the hallway, my own face twisted in fury. You think I don't see you scheming? Old hag? That body's mine now, soft. Pretty. Perfect for birthing the heir Ethan wants. Yours is just a husk, waiting to be discarded. Her words, my words, from my lips, were venom. But I saw the flicker, fear. She'd always been the puppet master, pulling strings at board meetings and PDA fundraisers. But now the strings were mine. The in-laws arrived for the pre-Christmas luncheon, a tradition of forced cheer in tartan and tinsel. Aunt Mildred, with her Botox-frozen grin, leaned in as Victoria, in me, poured mimosas. Darling, you look so vibrant. Motherhood suits you, even if Gabby's absence is a tad suspicious. Uncle Ted chuckled.
Yeah.
That girl's always been a wet blanket. Remember her DUI? What a mess. I sat at the end of the table, Victoria's rings clinking against my water glass, and smiled my first real smile in months.
Oh.
The DUI. I rasped, voice like gravel. That wasn't Gabriella's fault. You see, I was the one behind the wheel that night. Borrowed her car without asking. Poor dear took the blame to protect her mother-in-law. The table froze. Ethan choked on his eggs Benedict. Victoria's eyes, my eyes, widening like saucers. What the hell? Mother, he sputtered. I leaned forward, savoring the drip of butter on my chin. Truth is, Ethan, I've covered for her sins my whole life. The shoplifting at Neiman Marcus in '98?
Me.
The affair with the pool boy that nearly broke your father's heart? Encouraged by her.
And now?
This body business, well, let's just say the joke's on all of you. Gasps rippled like aftershocks. Mildred's fork clattered. Ted muttered about lawsuits.
Victoria Lang.
But I was ready. Carla's sedatives in her OJ. She slumped. My face slack in defeat. In the chaos, I slipped away to the attic, where Victoria hoarded her occult relics. The blood moon loomed, and with Crow's number from the grimoire, I arranged a meet. He was a weaselly type, all tweed and tenure envy, holed up in a Berkeley loft smelling of weed and regret. Reversal's risky, he warned over Zoom, his face pixelated. The ritual demands balance. One soul ascends, the other
fades.
And if the stars ain't aligned, I hung up, heart pounding. Fade? I'd kill her first if I had to. But Lily changed everything. That night, fever hit her like a freight train, 103 degrees. Her little body writhing in the crib.
Victoria,
groggy from the sedative hangover, fumbled the thermometer, dropping it with a curse that sounded wrong in my voice. Ethan paced, calling the pediatrician, but I, trapped in this farce, pushed past. I growled, scooping her up in arms that ached but remembered every lullaby. Lily's eyes fluttered open, glazed with delirium, and locked on mine. Mama, she whimpered, not to the imposter in my skin, but to me, in this stranger's flesh. Her tiny hand reached for Victoria's locket, the one I'd worn since our wedding, now dangling from my neck, and she quieted, nestling into my chest as if scent alone bridged the gap. The fever broke by morning, but the revelation lingered. Ethan stared at me over coffee, doubt cracking his certainty. How did you? She knew it was you. Victoria seethed in the corner, plotting her counterstrike. I could see it in the purse of my own lips. The in-laws whispered of exorcists and shrinks, But the seed was planted. What if the boring mom wasn't so boring after all? With 7 days left, I escalated. Using Victoria's Amex, why not? I hired a PI. A grizzled ex-cop named Ruiz who didn't blink at body swap tales. Seen weirder in Oakland, he grunted. Diggs unearthed dirt. Victoria's mystic dealings weren't isolated. She'd swapped before, a maid in the 90s. A rival socialite in the aughts. Bodies discarded like yesterday's couture. One victim, a young artist named Lena, had suicided after reversal failed. Her death ruled accidental, but smelling of cover-up. Ruiz emailed photos. Autopsy shots of bruises hidden under makeup. A note scrawled in shaky hand. Give it back. Armed with this, I confronted Ethan alone in the garage, amid his Tesla collection. Your mother's a monster, I said, sliding printouts across the workbench. She stole my life, our life. Lily's real mother is dying in the skin because of her. He blanched, hands trembling on a wrench. Gabby? Jesus. Is it really you? Tears welled. But so did denial. Mom's always been intense. But this? It's insane. I grabbed his collar, Victoria's strength surprising us both, and kissed him. Fierce and familiar. He recoiled, then pulled me closer, the taste of betrayal bitter on his tongue. If it's true, he whispered, we fix it. Together. But Victoria struck back. That night, she dosed my tea with something belladonna. Maybe. From her herbalist quack, and I woke strapped to a gurney in the basement, her face hovering like a nightmare. You think you can unravel me? Girl, I've built empires while you change diapers. She monologued, villain style, revealing the deepest cut, the DUI cover-up. She'd orchestrated it to bind me to the family, a debt I'd never escape. You were always too soft. Gabriella. Boring.
Now.
You'll sleep forever in my body. And I'll raise Lily as my own, better than you ever could. The straps bit into my wrists as she lit the candles for a permanent seal, chanting in that mocking lilt. But Ethan burst in, Ruiz at his side with a taser crackling like Judgment Day. Ciao siraptith, Victoria sriekin. Candles toppling, flames licking the Persian rugs. We dragged her upstairs, Lily's cries piercing the smoke, and in the melee, I snatched the grimoire. The blood moon hung low, bloated and red over the bay, and we fled to the backyard. Salt circle hastily poured on the dew-kissed grass. The ritual began at midnight. Lily, bundled in a blanket, watched with wide eyes as Ethan and I, husband and mother-in-law, chanted the words, her lock of hair burning in the brazier. Victoria thrashed against Ruiz's zip ties, spitting curses. You'll regret this. You ingrate. I'm the only one who knows power. The air thickened, ozone sharp, and the world spun, a vortex of light and shadow, souls tearing free like Velcro. When it cleared, I gasped, collapsing into grass that felt young and alive under my palms. My hands, my real hands, calloused from nursing and kneading dough, flexed, whole. Ethan knelt, cupping my face, tears streaming.
Gabby.
Oh God. Gabby. Lily toddled over, arms outstretched. Mama, and I held her, sobbing, the world righting itself. But as Ruiz hauled Victoria away, her body slumping, eyes vacant, the weaker vessel indeed shattered, I felt the twist. In the grimoire's final page, glimpsed in the firelight, Crow's footnote, reversals bind eternally. The ascendant's soul carries echoes. That night, as Ethan made love to me in our bed, fierce and reclaiming, I heard it, her voice. Faint in my mind. Boring? We'll see. Was it guilt? Madness? Or had she clawed her way in? A parasite in my victory? The in-laws disowned us. Of course. Mildred calling it that witch's curse. Ted lawyering up for the estate. Ethan quit his VC job. We sold the McMansion. Moved to a craftsman in Oakland with a yard for Lily to chase fireflies. I wrote a memoir. Anonymous. Titled The Vessel Thief. Stirring online forums into frenzy. Was it real? Metaphor for in-law hell? Or the ultimate Me Too for souls? Some nights, I wake to her whisper, urging darker paths, poison a rival's coffee, sabotage a deal. I fight it, baking scones at dawn, kissing Ethan's stubble. But the debate rages in me. Did I win? Or just trade cages? Lily's laughter drowns it out.
For now.
In America, revenge is a double-edged dream, sweet, until it cuts back. The echoes started small, like tinnitus after a rock concert, faint snickers in the shower, Victoria's signature scoff when I buttoned a blouse wrong. I'd pause, towel clutched to my chest, steam fogging the mirror, and whisper, "Shut up," to the empty air. Ethan chalked it up to PTSD. Booked me sessions with a therapist in Berkeley who specialized in traumatic dissociation. It's normal after. Whatever the hell that was, he'd say, rubbing my shoulders as we sipped chamomile on the porch swing, Lily asleep inside with her stuffed giraffe. Normal. In the land of the free and algorithm-addled, where influencers peddled crystal healing for $99.99, who was I to argue? But the whispers grew teeth. A week after the swap back, at the Oakland Farmers Market, bustling with tattooed millennials hawking heirloom tomatoes and CBD salves, I haggled over artisanal cheese. The vendor, a dreadlocked guy named Kai, leaned in. $10.
Mama.
Special for you. Harmless flirt. The kind that made me feel human again. Then it came, slut. Bargain like the help. Victoria's voice. Oily and intimate. Slithering through my skull. My hand froze mid-reach. Cheese forgotten. And I bolted. Heart hammering. Past stalls of tie-dye and tarot readers. Ethan found me hyperventilating by the BART tracks. Gabby?
Talk to me.
I couldn't. How do you explain a dead woman's ghost critiquing your thrift? Revenge, I'd thought, was a clean break, ritual fire. Soul freed. Credits roll. But America doesn't do clean. It's all sequels and spin-offs. Grudges recycled into podcasts. Ruiz called with updates. Victoria's body lingered in a coma at Stanford Med. Brain activity flatlined but persistent, like a glitchy app refusing to crash. Doctors say it's vegetative, he growled over the phone. His Cuban coffee breath audible. But her eyes twitch when they mention your name. Creepy shit. The mystic,
Crow,
had vanished, poof, into the ether of dark web forums, peddling soul insurance to paranoid tech bros. The in-laws sued for custody of Lily, claiming I was unfit. Post-incident, their lawyer a shark from Menlo Park with billable hours like a mortgage. Court was a circus. Televised on local news, tech heiress in coma after family dispute. Is occult ritual to blame? I took the stand in a thrift store blazer. Hair in a no-nonsense bun. Channeling every Lifetime movie mom I'd ever rooted for. Your Honor, I've borne Mrs. Hargrove's burdens for years, lies, manipulations, even crimes, to keep this family intact.
Now.
She's trying to steal my daughter from beyond the grave.
Gasps from the gallery.
Where Mildred sat stone-faced, fanning herself with a lace hanky. The judge, a noble Latina from the East Bay, eyed me sharp. MS.
Ruiz.
This swap allegation sounds like fantasy. Got proof. I slid over the grimoire photocopies.
Ruiz's dossier.
Lily's drawing from preschool, stick figure me in a magic dress, hugging a sad old lady. We won. Barely supervised visits for the in-laws. Therapy mandated. But victory tasted like ash. That night, celebrating with Pozole from the taqueria down the block, Victoria's voice crowed, pathetic. You think a gavel silences me? I made Ethan. Without me, he's nothing. I slammed my fist on the formica table, spoons rattling, drawing stares from the abuelas in the corner. Ethan squeezed my knee under the table. Babe, it's over.
Was it?
The real escalation hit during Lily's preschool open house. I'd volunteered for snack duty, apple slices and goldfish, the boring mom's badge of honor. The other parents milled about. iPhones out for the finger-painting gallery, tech dads in hoodies, yoga moms with matcha stains. That's when Aunt Mildred cornered me by the cubbies, her perfume a cloud of Chanel No. 5 and entitlement. Gabriella.
Dear. This.
Hovel suits your new low-rent life. But Lily deserves better. Victoria would agree, if she could speak. The dig landed, but her eyes darted.
Guilty.
I smiled. All teeth. Tell me, Mildred, did you know about the swaps? The maid in 98?
Lina suicide?
Her face blanched, powder cracking like drought earth.
Lies.
You're deranged. Push her.
Victoria herid.
A thrill in the timbre. Down the stairs. No one will know. My hand twitched toward Mildred's elbow. The impulse foreign yet familiar. Like muscle memory from a life I never lived. I recoiled, muttering excuses, fleeing to the bathroom where I splashed water on my face, staring down the drain. This wasn't revenge, it was possession. Her soul fragments latching like burrs, twisting my thoughts toward the abyss. Ethan suggested a road trip healing.
He called it.
Get out of the bay fog. Clear your head. We piled into the Subaru, Lily strapped in with her iPad glowing cartoons, and headed east on I-80 toward the Sierras. Tahoe glittered under autumn sun, pines whispering secrets as we checked into a cabin with a stone fireplace and no Wi-Fi. Evenings, we'd roast marshmallows, Lily's giggles echoing. And for hours, Victoria was mute, banished by the altitude or the simplicity. Sex by firelight felt like reclamation, Ethan's hands mapping me anew, whispering,
You're you.
Always. But dawn brought dreams, Victoria in a white gown, wedding veil stained red, laughing as she pushed me off a cliff into the lake below. On day 3, hiking Emerald Bay, Lily lagged, her sneakers scuffing granite.
Nana.
Why's Grandma in your tummy? She asked, pointing at my navel like it held answers. I froze, backpack straps digging in. What? Baby, innocent eyes, big as saucers. She talks funny. Says you're not fun. Ethan shot me a look, concern laced with fear. That night, over Esmores, I confessed the whispers. He held me, jaw set. We'll fight it. Exorcist, shrink, whatever it takes. But Victoria laughed then, loud in my ear, he'll leave you. Like he left me, for you. Back home. The attacks intensified. Emails from anonymous accounts, Crow's acolytes, detailed enhancement rituals to amplify the bind. I ignored them, but temptation gnawed. What if I could wield her? Her business acumen, her cutthroat savvy, turned against the world that mocked me. At a neighborhood block party, hot dogs and cornhole, the American dream distilled, I overheard the whispers. That's her. The nut job from the news. Think she swapped bodies. Poor Ethan. Rage bubbled. Victoria fanning it. Show them. Burn the tents. I didn't. Instead, I baked pies, cherry, lattice crust perfect, and left them on doorsteps with notes. Forgive the drama. Neighbors? Small olive branches in a polarized world. But Mildred escalated, filing for emergency custody on emotional abuse grounds, citing Lily's delusions about ghosts. Court again. This time with a GL, guardian ad litem, interviewing Lily in a room with dolls and tissues. She drew me two mamas, one young with a smile, one old with a frown inside the tummy. The GL raised an eyebrow. Interesting symbolism. As snow dusted the hills, I drove to Stamford alone.
Ruiz Stalling discreet.
Victoria's room was sterile, beeps syncing with my pulse. She lay there, tubes snaking, my old locket glinting on her chest. I leaned close, breath fogging the rail. You lost.
Vic.
Let go. Her eyelids fluttered. Once, twice, and in my mind, a flood, memories not mine. Her childhood in Grosse Pointe, Daddy's belt for bad grades. The startup grind, pills to power through. The first swap, terror when it worked. I did it for us. She wailed, voice cracking. For Ethan. You were stealing him. Pity pierced the hate. But then, join me. We can rule. I ripped the locket free, chains snapping, and stormed out, hurling it into the bay from the Dumbarton Bridge. Silence followed, blessed and eerie. Was she gone? Or biding time? Christmas came quiet, our tree strung with popcorn and paper chains. Lily's haul from Santa, a dollhouse and science kit. Ethan proposed renewal vows at City Hall. Rings exchanged under fluorescent hum. To us, he toasted with root beer. I smiled, but as fireworks popped over the estuary, her voice returned. Softer. Boring? Wait till they see what we do next. The climax brewed in spring, when Crow resurfaced. A tip from Ruiz. The charlatans hold up in Reno, running soul seminars for divorcees. I drove north alone, Ethan protesting but relenting. End this.
Gabby.
For Lily, the casino town glittered false, slots chiming like mocking bells. Crow waited in a seedy motel, room 13, grimoire open on a formica desk scarred with burns. Mrs. Hargrove, or is it Kensington now? He smirked. Bowtie askew. The bind's permanent. Victoria's essence fused.
One out.
Sever the cord, her body's anchor. Kill her. The word hung, clinical as a scalpel. Or mercy. Your call. He slid a vial, liquid mercury. Ritual poison. One drop. In her 4.
Clean.
Poetic. I gripped the glass. Cool and damning. Mercy or murder. American justice. Vigilante or verdict. Driving back. Vial hidden in my glove box. I waited. Victoria had stolen years. Mocked my core. But killing? That made me her. The decision crystallized at Lily's birthday party. Pin the tail on the donkey. Cake smeared on chins. Mildred showed, uninvited, with a pony and a custody petition. This farce ends, she hissed, as kids chase balloons. Do it now.
Victoria eri.
For the girl. But Lily ran to me, frosting on her nose. Mama. Sing. And, in her voice, I heard absolution. That night, I returned to Stamford. Ethan waited outside, engine idling. In the room, monitors beeping dirge. I uncapped the vial. Her hand twitched, mine once. Soft with lotion.
Vic, y whisperat.
We both lost. But Lily. She's mine. The drop fell, silver and final, into the port. Alarms wailed as I fled, Ethan's arms catching me in the lot. It's done?
Done.
The word echoed like a slammed door. But peace? That was a luxury for Hallmark cards, not haunted wives in the dead of night. Victoria flatlined within the hour, official cause, complications from prolonged coma, and the whispers ceased, abrupt as a switched-off radio. No more sneers in the mirror. No phantom itches urging sabotage. I slept dreamless for the first time in months, waking to birdsong filtering through our Oakland curtains. Lily's crayons scattered like confetti on the quilt. Ethan brought coffee, black and steaming, and we made love slow, deliberate, bodies sinking without ghosts between us. The funeral was a farce. Black veils and veiled threats. Mildred orchestrated it from the Hillsborough Chapel, stained glass casting judgmental rainbows on mahogany pews. Victoria Hargrove Kensington, pillar of the community, the eulogist droned, some hired hack from the country club. I sat in the back with Lily on my lap, her fingers twisting my necklace, the new one, a simple silver chain with her initial. Ethan squeezed my hand, knuckles white. Uncle Ted cornered us post-service. Breath sour with bourbon. This is on you. Gabriella. Her blood, your hands. I met his gaze.
Steady.
Blood?
Try theft.
She stole my life. I just reclaimed it. Scandal rippled through the valley like a dropped stock ticker. Anonymous leaks Ruiz is doing? I suspected. Hit the Chronicle. Heiress's death tied to occult past. Family rift explodes. Forums lit up. Reddit's r/conspiracy crowned me soul slayer queen, while goop-adjacent blogs spun it as energetic justice. The in-laws countersued for wrongful death, alleging poisoning. But the autopsy was clean, no traces. Crow's elixir ghost. Their case crumbled. Mildred's testimony unraveling under cross. Well, Victoria did have peculiarities. We settled out of court, her shares in the estate funneled to a trust for Lily. Strings cut. Freedom tasted like summer. Barbecues in Tilden Park, where Lily chased squirrels and Ethan grilled veggie burgers. His laugh lines deepening in the sun. I started a blog, Vessels and Vixens, anonymized essays on in-law warfare, body autonomy, the dark underbelly of American family myths. It went viral. Podcast invites flooding. The Moth wanted my story. Serial killers Ida season. You're a survivor, my therapist beamed. A soft-spoken Sikh with a corner office overlooking the lake. Not boring, brave. But twists don't untie neat, they knot tighter. 2 months post-funeral. A letter arrived, cream envelope, Victoria's monogram embossed. Inside, a single photo, me, in her body, snipping Lily's hair that fateful night. Scribbled on the back, we all have secrets. Darling. Yours next? The impossible. She'd been comatose. Then dead. A forgery? Mildred's spite? I burned it in the sink. Flames licking up the evidence. But doubt festered. What if the bind wasn't severed? What if her soul had jumped? A final swap into.
What?
The locket?
No.
I'd chucked it. Lily's drawing? Child's play. Paranoia peaked at Labor Day. Family reunion our style. Just us. Plus Ruiz and Carla for barbecue. She'd quit nursing. Opened a food truck. Empanadas de la Bruja. Witchy vibes and all. To absent bitches, she toasted with sangria. Clinking my glass. Lily performed a magic show, pulling scarves from sleeves. And we cheered. Hearts full. But as dusk fell, fireflies winking, Victoria's voice returned. Not whisper, but roar, fools. The girl's the key. She sees me.
Ispun.
Scanning shadows. But only crickets chorused. That night, Lily woke screaming, nightmare. She said, of the old lady in the mirror eating Mama's face. Ethan rocked her. But I slipped into the bathroom, flipping the light. My reflection stared back, unblinking. For a split second, or was it? Her eyes overlaid mine, crow's feet etching in. I punched the glass, shards raining, blood welling on knuckles. Get out. Ethan bandaged me, worry etching his brow. Gabby, we need help. Real help. We consulted a medium next day, not Crow, but a trusted one from the hate, all patchouli and pendulums. Zara. She called herself, with locks down to her waist and a rescue pit bull at her feet. In her Victorian flat, crystals humming on shelves, she held my hands, palms up. Echoes, she murmured, eyes rolling back. Not full possession, a tether. Severed wrong. The child's the bridge, her innocence anchors it. Lily? My Lily. Conduit for this curse? Zara prescribed a cleansing. Full moon. Sage smoke. A lock of hair, not Lily's, but mine and Victoria's. From the grave. Exhuming? Blasphemy or necessity. Ethan vetoed. No desecration. We'll find another way. But the incidents mounted. Grocery runs turned treacherous, cans tumbling from shelves as if pushed. Victoria's cackle in the muzak hum. At parent-teacher night. Mrs. Patel pulled me aside. Lily's been imaginative. Talks of two mamas fighting inside. My blood iced. That weekend, we fled to Big Sur. Cliffs dropping to Pacific roar, hoping ocean salt would scour the stain. The cabin was rustic, redwood beams. No cell service. Waves crashing like applause. We hiked Pfeiffer Beach. Purple sand gritty underfoot. Lily collecting shells. Look, Mama, magic rocks. Her joy was balm. But as sun dipped, painting sky bloody, the tether yanked. Pain lanced my skull. Vision blurring. Flashes of Victoria's life. Boardroom battles. Ethan's birth. A stillborn sibling buried in secrecy. You think you know betrayal? I ate mine young. Sympathy warred with revulsion. Dinner by lantern. Clam chowder from a ken. Stories swapped. Ethan confessed his own sin. He'd known of her experiments, turned blind eye for the inheritance. Forgive me? Tears in his eyes. I did. Or tried. Love's the ultimate swap. Trading flaws for forever. Midnight. Under the moon's sickle grin. We improvised Zara's right. Salt circle on the deck. sage smoldering in a conch shell. Lily asleep inside. Ethan chanted mangled Latin from the grimoire app on his phone. I stood center, knife nicking my palm, blood dripping. Coppery and real. Victoria and Hargrove. Release. Wind whipped. Waves thundering approval. Then silence. Profound as vacuum. I collapsed. Ethan catching me. Gone, he asked. I nodded. But deep down, a hollow remained, like a room echo-free, waiting to fill. Back in Oakland, normalcy crept in. Blog hit 100K subscribers. I keynote a women's retreat in Napa, reclaiming your vessel, to thunderous applause. Lily thrived, her two mamas' tales fading to whimsy. The in-laws faded too, Mildred's stroke. Ironic justice. Confining her to a walker and whispers. Ethan launched a startup, ethical AI for mental health. Irony not lost. No more ghosts in the machine, yet the twist lingered. A barb in the happy. One crisp October morning, raking leaves in the yard, pumpkin spice latte steaming nearby, Lily tugged my sleeve.
Nana.
The old lady says thank you. Chills spidered my spine. What? Sweetie. Innocent shrug. For the nice sleep. But she misses the big house. I froze. Rake forgotten. Echo. Or evolution. Victoria's fragment nesting in Lily. Harmless as a fairy tale. I never told Ethan. Some secrets we bear alone. Like the DUI lie reborn. Is it haunting or harmony? The debate fuels late-night scrolls. Forums fracture. Half hailing my triumph, half decrying child endangerment.
Me?
I choose the gray. American as apple pie a la mode. Sweet with a sting. Boring mom? Hell no. I'm the reckoning. Souls swapped and stories untold. But as Halloween approaches, Lily crafts her costume, a witch with a kind smile. Like grandma, she beams. I nod. Heart twisting. Trick or treat. In this life, it's both. Halloween dawned crisp. The Oakland hills ablaze in amber and rust. Air thick with the promise of candy corn and chaos. Lily bounced in her witch getup, thrifted black dress.
Pointed hat Askef.
A broomstick fashioned from a dowel and yarn. Abracadabra.
Mana.
Turn me into a frog, she giggled, waving a wand of painted driftwood. I obliged with a flourish, croaking dramatically as Ethan snapped photos on his phone, his flannel shirt rumpled from a late coding session. Perfect spell, babe, he said, kissing my temple. Normalcy, that elusive beast, had settled like dust after a storm, our days a rhythm of school drop-offs. Freelance edits for my blog. And Ethan's virtual meetings punctuated by Lily's crayon masterpieces taped to the fridge. Yet the thank you lingered. A pebble in my shoe. Was it Lily's fancy? Or Victoria's parting gift, a benign haunting? Her soul splinter softened by maternal osmosis? I scoured the web. Forums on residual energies. TED Talks on intergenerational trauma. Nothing conclusive. Just enough to fuel the fire. Mildred holiday card arrived that week, spidery script on embossed stock, wishing you and the child a merry farce. Remember, blood tells. Cryptic threat or senile ramble. I filed it with the ashes of the photo. But sleep evaded. Dreams replaying the vial's glint. The monitor's wail. Thanksgiving brought a test. Ethan's insistence on neutrality. Invite them, he said over pumpkin pie planning. Chopping onions with ritual precision. Closure. For Lily, the in-laws. Diminished but dogged. Accepted, Uncle Ted with his oxygen tank, Mildred in a wheelchair, her nurse a stoic shadow. The meal was tense theater, turkey carved with surgical care, yams candied to mask the bitterness. Lily chattered of school plays, oblivious, while Mildred's eyes bored into me like lasers. "You've blossomed, Gabriella," she said, fork spearing cranberry. Victoria would be proud or appalled. Ted grunted agreement, mask muffling his wheeze. Ethan steered to neutral, football scores.
Stock dips.
But under the table, my foot tapped Morse code, S-less, against his. Dessert dissolved into détente. Lily dragged Ted to the living room for charades, his laughter rusty but real. Mildred wheeled close. Voice low, she spoke to me. "You know. Before the end. Said you'd pay." My pulse spiked.
Pie vergaten.
Lies don't age well. Mildred. But her smile curdled milk. The locket. "You threw it away. But I fished it from the bay. Wore it to the grave with her. The chain, Victoria's anchor. My noose." Had Mildred performed her own rite, tethering the echo, I excused myself, fleeing to the garage amid clinking dishes. The locket wasn't there. I'd searched post-burn, but doubt gnawed. Calling Ruiz. Voice hushed. Dig on Mildred. Occult ties. He chuckled.
Cigar chomping.
On it.
Chica.
These old birds got more skeletons than a Dia de los Muertos parade. His report landed midnight. Mildred's charity, donations to Crow's Foundation, emails plotting family preservation rituals. She'd known all along. Enabler in pearls. Confrontation brewed overnight. Victoria's silence deafening approval or absence. Dawn broke with coffee and confessions. I showed Ethan the files. His face crumpled, piecing the puzzle. God.
Gabby.
Our whole marriage. We vowed anew, truth as armor. But Lily's fever returned that afternoon low-grade, but insistent. Her cheeks flushed as she clutched the witch hat. "Old lady says sorry," she mumbled. Delirious. Pediatrician, viral.
Rest.
But I saw patterns, fevers at full moons, whispers at solstice. The tether wasn't severed. It looped. Through blood. Through bone. Climax crested Black Friday. Consumer frenzy masking our frenzy. Ethan and I stormed Hillsborough. The estate a mausoleum of memories, marble foyer echoing our footsteps. Mildred awaited in the conservatory, orchids wilting like her spite. "Come for tea," she sneered, bells summoning the nurse. But we came armed, Ruiz's affidavit, grimoire excerpts printed in triplicate. "End it," I demanded, slamming the folder. "The locket. The rituals give them up." Her laugh tinkled like breaking crystal. "Or what? Poison me too." Lily's drawing fluttered from the pages. Two mamas. Fused now in crayon hearts. Mildred's facade cracked. "She was my sister. You know."
Victoria.
Twins. Separated at birth. I helped her escape. The swaps. The lies for family. Twist upon twist. Not just mother-in-law, but aunt by blood. A secret chiseled into the family tree. The DUI? Their shared sin, covering a botched ritual that killed their father. I'd borne it unknowingly. Proxy in their coven. "You were perfect," Mildred confessed. Tears carving rivulets in rouge. Innocent. The vessel to bind us all. Ethan reeled, staggering against a fern.
Aunt Mil?
All these years. She produced the locket from a drawer, tarnished but intact, chain coiled like a snake. Inside, not one photo, but three: Victoria young, Mildred twin-mirrored, and a faded snapshot of me pre-wedding. Unknowing pawn. Burn it, she rasped. But the echo stays. In the child. In you. I snatched it. Flame from a Tiffany lighter devouring metal and memory. Smoke curled acrid, and Mildred slumped, heart attack. Swift as judgment. Paramedics swarmed, but her eyes locked on mine. Thank you. Back home, Lily's fever broke with the news. Coincidence or catharsis? The estate passed to us. A poison chalice we donated to Habitat. McMansions for the displaced. Ethan's startup boomed. Ethical AI detecting soul echoes in data. Metaphor made meta. My book deal landed. Swapped. A memoir of maternal mayhem. Ghost-written, but gut-true. Launch party in a Castro bookstore. Rainbow flags fluttering. Fans queuing for signatures. Inspiring, they gushed. Terrifying. Debatable. Yes, did I murder? Liberate? Or merely midwife a monster's mercy? Ending?
Nota idibao.
Lily thrives. Her old lady stories spun into bedtime yarns, and the witch turned nice. 'Cause Mama was brave. Ethan and I renew vows on our anniversary. Barefoot on Baker Beach. Waves lapping vows. But some nights, in the quiet, I feel her, not rage, but residue, a nudge toward boldness. Whispering, not boring now. Are you? Is it haunting or heritage? Victory or viral curse? America debates in the comments. Hero or horror? I choose both. Gray as fog over the Golden Gate. Tense as a ritual's edge. Revenge isn't a period, it's ellipsis. Waiting for the sequel. And if Lily's eyes flicker silver under moonlight, well, that's a story for another swap. In the end, or the meantime, I bake cookies, chocolate chip, edges crisp, and watch my daughter dance in the kitchen.
Free.
That's the real magic. Ordinary amid the occult. Love's quiet coup. Boring? Baby. That's the revenge.